For those in the West, India still perhaps conjures images of yoga retreats, spiritual gurus, tasty food, and crippling poverty. And yet, quietly in the 21st century, a $400 billion family-run empire has been amassing a colossal fortune, shaping not just India's economy, but influencing industries across the globe. The Tata family's Tata Group is not merely a corporation. It is an institution, a name so synonymous with trust and industry that it has embedded itself into the very fabric of modern India. With holdings in everything from steel to software, airlines to automobiles, power plants to five-star hotels, the Tata name commands respect in boardrooms from Mumbai to Manhattan. Furthermore, unlike the brash billionaire empires of the West, the Tata Dynasty has mastered the art of wielding immense power with a quiet dignity, ensuring that over 66% of its wealth is controlled by philanthropic trusts rather than personal coffers. Therefore, in today's episode of Old Money Luxury, we reveal a tale of ambition, strategy, and generational vision. This is the story of how one Parsi entrepreneur, armed with nothing but determination and an eye for industry, laid the foundation for an empire that would one day shape the future of India itself. When it comes to wealth, power, and influence in India, the Tata family does not just play the game. They wrote the rulebook. Their estimated net worth, indirectly controlled through Tata Sons, hovers around $400 billion, making them India's most formidable business dynasty. But unlike other billionaire clans with their gold-plated vanity projects and obscenely lavish lifestyles, the Tatas have mastered the art of being fabulously rich with a straight face. At the heart of their empire is Tata Sons, a behemoth that owns everything from steel plants to information technology consulting giants, luxury car brands to five-star hotels. The Tata Trusts, which control over 66% of Tata Sons, ensure that while the empire's wealth fuels everything from cancer hospitals to world-class universities, the family itself appears almost monk-like in their personal wealth. Appearances, however, can be deceiving. The Tatas may not be flaunting their riches on Instagram, but their world-class residences, a garage lined with Rolls-Royces and Jaguars, and private jets hopping between continents tell a different story. Ratan Tata, the elder statesman of the family, is still the face of the empire. While officially retired, his influence remains unchallenged. Known for his impeccable style, quiet authority, and an uncanny ability to steer the group through global financial storms, Ratan is the embodiment of Tata's legacy. But with no biological heir, the billion-dollar question remains: who inherits his throne? Enter Natarajan Chandrasekaran, the chairman of Tata Sons and the man entrusted with steering this corporate juggernaut into the future. A meticulous strategist with an eye for expansion, he has ensured that Tata remains not just relevant, but dominant on the world stage. The sheer scale of Tata's holdings is staggering. Tata Consultancy Services alone is worth over $150 billion, making it the crown jewel of India's information technology industry. Tata Motors owns Jaguar Land Rover, a turnaround story that saw an Indian company rescue one of Britain's most iconic automobile brands. Tata Steel built India's industrial backbone, and their airline holdings, including Air India, are poised to reshape the country's aviation sector. Luxury? The Tata-owned Taj hotels have been the gold standard of hospitality for over a century. And the family's latest investments in green energy and cutting-edge technology prove that they are not just sitting on old money, they are shaping the future. Yet, despite their immense success, the Tata dynasty remains at a crossroads. With no clear family successor and an increasingly complex corporate landscape, the empire's next chapter remains unwritten. They have conquered industries, reshaped economies, and built a fortune so vast it defies comprehension. But to really peek under the hood of the Tata Empire, we must go back to where it all began, when a young Parsi visionary named Jamsetji Tata laid the foundations of what would become India's greatest industrial dynasty. Long before the skyscrapers, the boardrooms, and the billion-dollar balance sheets, the Tata story began in a modest home in Navsari, a small town in Gujarat, in the early 19th century. It was here, in a tight-knit Parsi community, that Jamsetji Nusarwanji Tata was born in 1839, destined to become the architect of India's industrial revolution. The Parsi people, a small but immensely influential minority in India, had long been known for their business acumen, philanthropy, and deep commitment to education. Having fled Persia centuries earlier to escape religious persecution, they had integrated into Indian society while maintaining their own distinct identity. By the 19th century, Parsis had established themselves as prominent traders and industrialists, and young Jamsetji inherited this commercial instinct from his father, Nusarwanji Tata, a merchant dealing in cotton and opium. From an early age, Jamsetji was immersed in the world of trade. His father sent him to Mumbai, then Bombay, a booming commercial hub teeming with opportunity. There, Jamsetji studied at Elphinstone College, one of the most prestigious institutions of the time, where he was exposed to Western economic principles and industrial advancements that would later inform his grand vision for India. After graduating in 1858, he joined his father's trading firm, where he quickly grasped the intricacies of global commerce. The cotton trade, in particular, was a lucrative business at the time, with British demand fueling the Indian economy. But Jamsetji saw beyond the quick profits of trading raw materials. He envisioned India producing its own finished goods, free from British industrial dominance. In 1868, with an entrepreneurial spirit that would define the Tata legacy, Jamsetji struck out on his own and founded Tata and Sons, a company that would go on to shape the Indian industrial landscape. He set his sights on textiles, recognizing that India could rival Manchester's mills with the right infrastructure. In 1874, he established the Empress Mills in Nagpur, a state-of-the-art textile plant that incorporated the latest European machinery, but with a crucial difference. He prioritized worker welfare, introducing pension funds and accident compensation long before they became standard labor practices. But textiles were only the beginning. As he traveled across the world, Jamsetji absorbed the lessons of industrialized nations, studying their steel industries, power grids, and educational institutions. He became obsessed with three grand visions: establishing India's first steel plant, creating a world-class institution for higher education, and harnessing hydroelectric power to industrialize the country. His ambitions were not just about business, they were about nation building. Jamsetji believed that a strong industrial base would be the foundation of India's economic independence. And so, he laid the groundwork for Tata Steel, what would later become the Indian Institute of Science and the country's first hydroelectric projects. Though he did not live to see these dreams realized, Jamsetji's legacy was cemented. His meticulous planning and relentless ambition created the foundation for an empire that would outlast colonial rule, economic upheavals, and generations of leadership changes. But while Jamsetji laid the groundwork, it would be up to his successors to take these ideas from vision to reality. And as the 20th century began, the next generation of Tatas would find themselves at the helm of an empire poised for greatness. By the early 20th century, Jamsetji Tata's grand vision had been set in motion, but it would be his successors who turned bold ideas into industrial realities. At the helm was his son, Sir Dorabji Tata, who inherited more than just a business. He inherited a mission to make India self-sufficient in steel, energy, and education. Dorabji was not merely a custodian of his father's dreams, he was a builder, a risk-taker, and above all, a believer in India's industrial future. His first major endeavor was transforming Tata Steel from a concept into a fully operational industry. It was no small feat. The British were skeptical of an Indian steel company competing with Western firms, and financing such a massive enterprise was a logistical nightmare. Yet, in 1912, against the odds, Tata Steel's first ingot rolled out of the plant in Sakchi, a remote village that would later become Jamshedpur, India's first planned industrial city. The British government, initially dismissive, soon found itself relying on Tata Steel during World War I, when the company supplied thousands of tons of steel for railway tracks, military hardware, and other critical wartime needs. Steel was just the beginning. Under Dorabji's leadership, Tata Power was established, setting the foundation for India's energy infrastructure. The hydroelectric projects in the Western Ghats provided sustainable power long before the term renewable energy entered corporate boardrooms. His leadership also extended to education, where he played a critical role in funding the Indian Institute of Science, a research institution that still ranks among the best in Asia. But with great ambition came great risks. In 1921, Dorabji made the audacious decision to back the expansion of Tata Steel by personally pledging his fortune, including his wife's jewelry, to secure loans that would keep the company afloat during financial difficulties. His gamble paid off, solidifying Tata Steel's place as the backbone of India's industrial sector. While Dorabji was laying the foundation, it was J.R.D. Tata, his cousin and the family's most celebrated business leader, who turned the Tata Group into a true multinational powerhouse. Taking the reins in 1938 at just 34 years old, J.R.D. was a visionary who expanded Tata's footprint across multiple industries, including aviation, chemicals, and hospitality. Under his leadership, Tata Airlines, later rebranded as Air India, took to the skies, becoming India's first commercial airline. Tata Chemicals diversified the group's industrial portfolio, while Tata Motors began producing vehicles that would later become the backbone of India's automotive industry. The Taj Hotels, a project first conceived by Jamsetji, evolved into a global luxury brand under JRD's stewardship. But perhaps JRD's greatest contribution was instilling an ethos of ethical business practices, innovation, and long-term thinking. His belief that money is not the goal, it is the byproduct of good work, became the guiding principle of the Tata Empire. He fostered a corporate culture where employees were treated as stakeholders, introducing progressive labor policies that set Tata apart in an era of ruthless industrial expansion. By the mid-20th century, the Tata Group was no longer just an Indian business. It was a global industrial force. What started as a dream in Jamsetji's mind had become an empire that touched every facet of Indian life, from the roads people traveled to the power that lit their homes. As India stood on the brink of independence, the Tata Group had already built the foundation of a modern nation. But with a new political landscape emerging, the family would soon have to navigate challenges that would test their legacy like never before. By the mid-20th century, the Tata Group had cemented itself as the backbone of India's industrial economy. The family's enterprises had survived 2 world wars, the Great Depression, and the growing pains of an emerging nation. But as India gained independence in 1947, a new challenge emerged, navigating the shifting tides of socialist economic policies, government intervention, and internal corporate power struggles. J.R.D. Tata, the group's visionary leader, had to adapt. The Indian government, led by Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, favored a socialist model, placing major industries under state control. While many private businesses struggled against this backdrop, Tata remained resilient, largely due to its reputation for ethical practices and its contributions to national development. Yet, government scrutiny intensified. In the 1950s, Air India, a crown jewel of the Tata Empire, was nationalized. J.R.D. Tata, who had personally built the airline, was devastated but remained chairman at the government's request. This was the first major blow to the group, signaling that even the most successful private ventures were not immune to government control. Despite these setbacks, Tata continued to innovate. In 1954, the company launched Tata Chemicals, expanding into fertilizers and industrial chemicals. In 1959, Tata Motors introduced its first indigenous commercial vehicle, setting the stage for the group's dominance in the automotive industry. Yet, internal power struggles loomed. The group's decentralized management structure, which had allowed for rapid expansion, began showing cracks. Differences in vision between family members and professional executives led to tensions. J.R.D. Tata, known for his progressive approach, began pushing for modernization, but not everyone agreed with his strategies. By the 1970s, India's economy was weighed down by restrictive regulations, known as the License Raj. Bureaucratic red tape stifled growth, making it difficult for private companies to expand. Tata, despite its vast resources, struggled to navigate the labyrinth of approvals required for new ventures. The group had to fight legal battles over land acquisitions, labor disputes, and policy roadblocks. Through all this, JRD remained unwavering, believing that long-term thinking would ultimately triumph. But the real turning point came in the 1990s. With India's economic liberalization in 1991, the Tata Group was suddenly free from the constraints that had long hindered its growth. However, this new environment also brought competition from global giants. The group had to evolve quickly or risk being outpaced. A leadership transition was imminent, and the man who would take Tata into the 21st century was waiting in the wings. His name was Ratan Tata, and his leadership would not only redefine the Tata Empire, but also shape the future of Indian industry itself. By the dawn of the 21st century, the Tata Group had not only survived decades of economic shifts, but had positioned itself as India's most influential business conglomerate. Under the leadership of Ratan Tata, the empire expanded its global reach, entering new industries and making high-profile acquisitions that would cement its place in the modern world. Ratan Tata took over as chairman in 1991, just as India embraced economic liberalization. He saw an opportunity where others saw uncertainty. One of his boldest moves came in the early 2000s when Tata Motors acquired the struggling British brands Jaguar and Land Rover from Ford in 2008. Many doubted the wisdom of the purchase, but within a few years, the brands turned profitable, proving the skeptics wrong. Tata Steel also made headlines with its acquisition of Chorus Group in 2007, making it one of the largest steel producers in the world. Tata Consultancy Services became a global leader in information technology, consistently ranking as one of the most valuable technology firms. Beyond business, the Tata family remained deeply committed to philanthropy. Over 66% of Tata Sons is owned by charitable trusts that fund initiatives in education, healthcare, and rural development. From establishing world-class research institutions to funding India's first cancer hospital, the Tata Trusts have ensured that the family's wealth benefits millions beyond their boardrooms. Despite these successes, the 21st century brought new challenges. The removal of Cyrus Mistry as chairman in 2016 exposed rifts within the Tata Group's leadership. The public legal battle that followed raised questions about corporate governance and succession planning within the family-controlled conglomerate. Yet, the brand remained untarnished. In 2017, Natarajan Chandrasekaran, a non-family executive, was appointed chairman, marking a new era of professional leadership. Today, the Tata Group is valued at over $300 billion and continues to dominate industries ranging from steel and automobiles to software and retail. But the biggest question remains: what does the future hold for the Tata dynasty? With no direct heir from the Tata bloodline currently in line to take over, the group's leadership will likely remain in the hands of professionals rather than family members. Yet, the Tata name still carries immense weight, and its commitment to ethical business, philanthropy, and innovation ensures that its legacy will endure for generations. The Tata story is far from over. It is an empire built on vision, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to nation building. And as India continues to rise on the global stage, one thing is certain: the Tata name will always be at the heart of it. And now, we would love to see you in the comments. If you are Indian, Are you proud of the Tata family? And if you are from the West, had you heard of them before? We can't wait to hear from you. And thanks for joining us for another episode, and cheers until the next time.